Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the City of Farmers Branch regular City Council meeting. It is Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. The time is 6:01 p.m. We will begin with our invocation and pledge of allegiance. Our invocation will be led by Jason Davila from the Branch Church. If you all please stand.
Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the grace and compassion that you have shown to us through your Son, Jesus. And we thank you, of course, for the opportunity to gather together this evening. Lord, would you help us to be the kind of people who choose love instead of hate, kindness instead of compassion, kindness instead of bitterness, compassion over judgment, and goodwill instead of self-preservation. I ask that you would grant wisdom, courage, and strength to our civic leaders and the many people that they represent. And help us all to be the kind of people that seek the flourishing and well-being of our community and our neighbors as we seek to love this city for such a time as this. In the name of Jesus, we ask these things. Amen.
Amen. If you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. So we'll just get right to the reason why I believe many of you are here tonight. First, we're going to have the farewell remarks from Councilmember John Norwood, Councilmember Mike Baumgartner. But first, just want to share a few words. Today, we are here to usher in two new council members who will serve this city in the capacities that John and Mike did before them. And it's been a wonderful 6 years for the city with Mike and John, both kind of at the helm. And John, I just want to thank you for... Yeah, he's ready to go. I'm gonna wrap this up. But you moved to this community, you jumped right in, and you made a difference. But you did it with your own brand of leadership, which was a listen first mentality. You brought a fair and balanced approach to every issue. And you also stayed within your wheelhouse. Oftentimes you were like, this isn't my strong suit. I'm going to let other people weigh in here and kind of listen to their guidance so that we can make a decision. And I thought that was always a wonderful trait about you because you knew what your strengths were and what the strengths of others were. And that's what made you such a great leader. But your calm demeanor, well, I think 99% of the time I did see you get frustrated one time. Kind of blown away, kind of like when you just snuck up on me. But it confirmed that we're all allowed to be passionate from time to time. And I'm sad to see you go, but I'm excited for your next phase of life because I know you want to enjoy time with your family, especially with your grandchildren. But I'm going to have some more remarks at the end that kind of tie you and Mike together. But I do want to say that we do have some gifts for you for your time on council. Similar to Councilmember Blackson, give you a key to the city of Farmers Branch presented to John Norwood. Thank you for your commitment and dedicated service from 2015 to 2021 as council member of District 3. We didn't hand you the 5-year service pin at your 5 years, but you did pass that milestone, so we thought that we would give you one now in year 6 on your way out. Yeah. And then also your own street sign, Norwood Lane. The date's 2015 to 2021. And you said you had 8 minutes? You had 8 minutes?
All right. Those of you that know me know I speak off the cuff all the time, but today I made some notes. So I'll try to follow it loosely. This is my time. He said that it's ceremonial, and nobody can kick me off, so I can say what I want to say. I want to thank Mayor Dye for the heat of the city, for the street sign, and for his support during his tenure as mayor. We've gotten to be very close friends, and I think that he's just really brought a different tenor to the city, and that he's really moved us forward in a very short time. I also wanted to thank, where is he, Mayor Phelps? Mayor Bob Phelps, who was mayor when I first came on council, and thank you for all your support and the contributions that you gave through a long career with the city, so thank you very much. It's been my honor and privilege to serve. Most everybody knows that I spent most of 30 years doing military stuff, and it was always a privilege to do that, an honor to serve, and I hope I've served well. The 6 years is a long time, but you'd be surprised how fast it goes. It's in city government, the wheels grind really slow, and it's hard to really accomplish anything, but I look back over the accomplishments and changes that we as a council, I don't really take credit for anything, but I'm going to take credit for one thing in a few minutes. But this city, when I ran for election in 2015, we had just under 30,000 people. Today, we have just under 50,000 people. During that time, we've added over $1 billion to the tax rolls in the city. We've survived the pandemic together, and we've brought new businesses. We brought restaurants. So I had 3 things that I ran on, right? So I was going to, is that my time? Somebody? Oh man, okay, can I have extra time? Ran on 3 things. We needed to fix the creeks. We've done that. We wanted to develop Mercer Crossing. We've done that. I wanted to bring restaurants to the city. We've done that. And in all of that, we also repealed the immigration ordinance, which had caused so much controversy in the city for so long. And so those 3 things kind of defined why I got involved, but not what we did. I mean, we did it all together. We have a better relationship with Addison, where our Farmers Branch Creek is going to have water from the Trinity Aquifer. The development on the west side, it's got some issues that my followers are going to have to deal with, fortunately. But it's there. We have families. We're going to build 800-900 homes over there, and it's going to be a great when it's done. And we've enhanced our parks. We've improved our infrastructure. And that is the thing I take greatest satisfaction in, is that, I sat on the Trinity River Authority, which does our sewage for most of 4 years, and came back one day and said, we're spending a lot of extra money because our stormwater runs into our sewer, and we pay Trinity River Authority for that. And Mark Bentley, who has gotten to be very close to, we had a rocky start, but we got close, had this sewer lining project, and I came back and I told the council in the budget cycle, we got to spend more money on this because this is a critical need. And last year alone, we saved $600,000 that goes right back into your water bill. That savings keeps your water rates low. And so that, I think, is my proudest achievement during this time. We have the best police and fire department in DFW, and if you don't believe me, watch a few council meetings back when I gave Chief Hale the award for being one of the top police departments in the state of Texas. And we have 4-minute response times. Nobody in Dallas has 4-minute response time. We do here. And so I want to thank Chief Vargas, Chief Hale, Chief Parker before him, that for all they do for our great city. So, what is that noise? Oh, that's the fire guys, or the police guys. Come on, I'm talking here. All right. So nobody will get this but a few, but, so those are my accomplishments. Regrets, I have a few. But then again, too few to mention? No? Okay, nobody got it. Okay, I'm not the jokes. Overall, I'm certain that I'm leaving the council in great hands. I have the greatest respect for David Merritt and Tracy Williams. They are prepared, they're knowledgeable, and they will do a great job. And so, looking for great things from you guys. So I want to talk a little bit about lessons learned, rather than going through all this stuff that we've done. So, my guidance, my advice. Advice is cheap, right? You get exactly what you pay for it. Try to see all points of view. Be kind, be thoughtful, and be decisive. Listen more and talk less. And don't be easily offended. If you get offended in this job, you're in the wrong job, because people will try to do that all the time. And it's worth the effort to plow through all that and serve the city. I want to thank the staff. I think most of them, when I was walking around, I missed a few. I'm going to single out a few. It's always hard to do that. You can't single out everybody. But I wanted to single out a few. Charles Cox, what a great city manager. You can try. Thoughtful, knowledgeable, professional. He has really set the standard in city management. And thank you for your support over these 6 years. I'm single out John Land. You know, everybody knows John Land. And John Land's always upbeat. That's what I appreciate about him the most. And if there's any sticky problem, you send in John Land, and he can solve it and make people feel good about the solution. He's also a great dancer. I don't know this whole rap music thing, but he likes that. But John, thank you for your help and your support during this time. Amy, she's behind here, Amy Johnson. And she kept me on track. She does more than the city realizes. I'm so glad that she didn't leave and that she's still here. And she really makes a contribution to the city. Thank you, Amy, for everything you've done. You know, I made some great friends on council. I wanted to thank, because I couldn't have done it without Mike Boncarter. We ran together. He's my friend, he's my counselor, he's my sounding board, and he talked me off the ledge a few times. More than a few. Thank you, Mike. We talked about Mayor Dye, but we really become close friends. We're going to remain close friends. And just thank you for all that you've done for the city. You've taken us to the next level. And so thank you for that. And Bronson Blackson, didn't show up tonight. You know, he didn't like me that much. But he challenged me more than anybody else to think outside myself and see different points of view. And I was sad to see him leave council, but I'm sure we'll see him sometime again in the future. So Bronson, wherever you are in TV land, thank you. So I'm not going away, taking a break. And who knows, you may see me back here again in the future. I want to thank my wife, Leslie. Couldn't have done it without her. The support, the counseling, just keeping me going and seeing the big picture, not getting into the little picture. Always thank God. Every time I've taken a command, left a command, or a position of leadership, I always thank God because he gave me the skills, the wisdom, and the leadership abilities that I have. So, this is a nod to Sherelle, but I'm going to use a movie quote as I leave. So in the mortal words of Bilbo Baggins, who's a character in my favorite novels, I'm going now. I bid you all a very fond farewell. Goodbye.
Mike had the decency to let me know he was sneaking up behind me. But try to be quick again, because I know you got a long speech as well. But Mike, I don't know what more can be said about you that hasn't been said over time, over these past few years. Truly a man of impeccable character. You always choose the right thing to do, no matter how difficult it may be. I've never met someone with more grit and fight in my entire life. You've shown incredible resolve and courage, and most would have walked away, carried your duty, and what you believed was your obligation forward, no matter the challenge. You've been a shining example of how we should all live our lives and what it looks like to be truly charitable. I'm hopeful you enjoy your new free time and freedom with your family and your grandkids, because I know they mean so much to you, and I know that you put your trust in the Lord and the plan that He has for you, and that's important to remember as you embrace this next and wonderful chapter of your life. But, with Mike and John, we didn't always agree on stuff, but we always moved forward united together. Whatever the decision was, we all believed, okay, this was the consensus, this is where we were going, and there were never any hard feelings, and that was great, being able to have those conversations, no matter where we stood on an issue, just knowing that we could move forward in our entire city, all of us in council, what we choose to do, choosing to move forward in that capacity, leaves it always in a better place. And because of, that ability and, our resolve to band together with what the consensus of the decision is, has constantly moved us forward. But you're both leaving behind huge shoes to fill. But, as you said, David and Tracy are up to the task. And I want to let you know that I value your friendship the most. I'll miss the scotch and the cold ones that we've had from time to time, as we talked about different ideas. We talked about life and how to be better, but these last 4 years have been great, and it'll feel a little different for a while, but you're leaving the city in good hands, and so just want to say thank you to you all, especially to Mike, to John, but we have some gifts for you as well, that wasn't just for John. Best hands. The key to the City of Farmers Branch, presented to Mike Baumgartner. Thank you for your commitment and dedicated service from 2015 to 2021 as Councilmember District 5. Also, we forgot to give Mike his 5-year pen. So we're giving it to him now in year 6. Same joke, don't need to laugh, but here you go. And then Baumgartner Way, 2015 to 2021.
First, I want to start by agreeing with everything that John said, which is not always the case, but mostly the case. About 6.5 years ago, a couple of former city council members came to me and said, "You should run for city council." And I had never thought about running for council. I never thought that was part of my path. My immediate response is no. I was in the process of, at that time, of selling my business and was working my way out of my business. And I was praying fervently for the Lord to point me in the direction of my next challenge. And I thought it was going to be consultings with a consortium or two out of Asia to bring products to the United States. But it turned out those doors kept closing and the door to city council kept opening. And finally I submitted and accepted the path that God had laid out for me. And so I ran and was fortunate enough to win against a very great candidate. I ran against David. That's how we got to know each other and became friends. And it was a fantastic campaign. It was positive. There was no negative. We worked together to unite while there was a lot of division going on. At times there's a lot of division going on in the elections, a lot of mistruths and a lot of dishonesty. So, but it was a great choice, and I have been honored and blessed to serve the citizens of Farmers Branch these past 6 years. I thank you for that opportunity. Coming into government, you know, I had a very low expectations. You know, through life, my father was a career Marine. He always talked about how the hurry up and wait and the disorganization of that a little bit. You know, as you run into city government, or government around, you know, I've run into people who didn't have the greatest attitudes, and I was kind of expecting to see a little bit of that when I joined the council. I could not have been more wrong. The city staff, under the leadership of Charles Cox, and John talked about Charles' leadership, you know, continues to impress me with their willingness to go the extra mile. They stay late, they work on weekends, they meet timelines and objectives, and execute at the highest levels. And I think the citizens of Farmers Branch should be very proud of the city's, you know, the city staff and the job that they do. I know that I am for that. We accomplished a lot in 6 years, and I made a list, and then I showed up tonight, and I ran into a couple of young ladies from Oak Brook who reminded me that, you know, that was one of the first, when I ran 6+ years ago, it was one of the first kind of meetings I had, and they challenged me with something, and, you know, and they brought it up tonight, and I left it off, and that is, you know, Oak Brook had some problems with their streets and roads and plumbing issues, and, you know, we were able to work together with their HOA and their problems to resolve that. So that was one of the things that was left off my list. I wanted to make certain I hit that. But, you know, things we've done, we replaced the old fire station with a new fire station. It's better located for service the east side. We replaced an aging service center building, and that's a place that takes care of all of our automobiles, all our vehicles, and fire trucks. And that was originally built in the 80s, and we updated that. We provided major updates to the police station for safety, with bulletproof glass. We improved their locker and their working environment. We built a garage for the SWAT vehicles so they could store their equipment, their SWAT equipment in there safely, so it's not exposed. And, you know, with a heavy emphasis on taking care of our police and fire. We renovated the branch connection, new dance floors, and updated exercise equipment. We renovated the rec center with updates and new equipment. We inherited a stormwater runoff system that had been ignored for decades, and literally had crumbling infrastructure in the form of the walls and the erosion and the dams that broke down early in John and I's tenure. But we're more than 50% resolved there, and we have a plan that's in place with the financing to do it without borrowing money or doing it just within the general fund to resolve those issues completely. Likewise, John talked about the infrastructure system on our sewage and what we've done there. And we're on about the same, similar timeline there about resolving all of those issues, which is also saving hundreds of thousands of dollars for our citizens. We develop long-range plans, 20-year to 30-year plans and objectives for the east side and the I-35 corridor for future developments. And it's important for us to plan for the future, and we have a great plan in place. We established a recycling program, city to help extend the life of Camelot, our landfill. We also successfully applied for an expansion that at Camelot, which will last us for 20 to 30 years or more in service. One of the things I'm most proud about is we launched a pilot program with MentorCrest to address homeless children in Farmers Branch. And we have a program that's ongoing with them as we're working to try to reduce and end homelessness for children. We've cut property taxes 3 times. Not all of them big, but 3 times. And we extended the senior tax exemption to the maximum allowed by state law while we were here. In addition to that list of successes, we also increased set-asides for future road repair. We continue to update our parks. We consolidated our board and commissions programs to operate, report, and advise in consistent structure to maximize communication while establishing term limits to increase citizen participation. We strengthened the demo rebuild program. And we're 5 years into a bike and trail process that's coming together with the help of state and local grants that the city has successfully applied for to match with our funds. And we've increased our property tax base by more than 30% with new construction and property appreciation. By the way, our property appreciation leads on a percentage basis all the cities around us. We started at the very bottom 6 years ago, if you went and you look at the demographics of Farmers Branch, but we have made dramatic improvement in our median income, our average housing costs, the age of our housing, by adding what we've done on the west side. It's been fantastic. We've also expanded and activated entertainment venues and provided strong support for the Firehouse Theater, which has grown into an award-winning venue. And we did this and maintained our momentum through this last year and a half of this pandemic program. And we did help do it by proactively helping our local businesses overcome obstacles and helping them establish new ways to improve their revenue. It has been a joy for me to be part of a team that worked together, pulling on the rope in the same direction, working to find consensus on the issues and opportunities to make Farmers Branch a better place to live, work, and play. I think that the process of working together and building relationships is what I will miss most of all. And while I already shared my opinion on the job our city manager, Charles Cox, is doing, I want to give some substance to his performance. He has put together a leadership team and leaders in training that is transparent, committed, hardworking, professional, and experienced to lead the various departments within the city. They are creative, budget-minded, and focused on serving the citizens of Farmers Branch. And they have restored my faith in government. Well, at least they've restored my faith in local government. I'm not going to mention any by name. They're all fantastic, and some I've worked with closer than others. But as I look around this room and the staff, and the police and the fire and the group that's been assembled, it's a phenomenal group. I also learned that one of the great strengths of Farmers Branch is the citizens' willingness to volunteer to share their talents, experience, and time to serve on boards and commissions. Your input and ideas and direction are invaluable to the council, staff, and the city as a whole. Thank you for those of you that are on boards and commissions. Thank you for making yourself available. I also wanted to commend the citizens on the candidates that you've elected. We all have somewhat different ideas about the role of government and what is best for Farmers Branch. But for the most part, we've been able to find consensus and move forward in a manner that unites the city as opposed to dividing it. I have a friend and business partner that jokingly says, "I only lie to protect my integrity." Of course, the real issue with this philosophy is the more time you spend protecting your integrity, the more you lose your integrity. I caution all current and future council members to guard your words and your actions in a way that unites a city as opposed to dividing it. I've learned so much and enjoyed working with the council, and I'm proud of what we have accomplished together. I also want to thank my wife and family. They have given up, they're the ones that made the big sacrifice because they've given up time, vacations, and they've enabled me to honor my commitment. Barbara, I love you. I know you've supported me through this season of life. You're the best. And then finally, I want to congratulate the new council members. I know that they are going to do a fantastic job, and that in a few months, you probably won't even remember who John is. So, anyway, once again, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to serve, and God bless you all.
C2 is the ceremonial presentation of oath of office. So first we're going to do David Merritt from District 5, and so hand him not only your council pen, but this here, in the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, this is to certify that an election held on May 1st, 2021, David Merritt was duly elected as council member of the city of Farmers Branch, in testimony whereof I have hereunto signed my name and caused the seal of Farmers Branch to be affixed this 12th day of May 2021. Robert C. Dye, Mayor, presiding officer of canvassing authority.
David reached out to me and asked if I'd do the honor of giving him the oath of office. And I met David 6.5 years ago. He was my opponent when I ran for council. And we really found out that we were more alike than we ever were different in so many ways. And like I said, he ran an honest campaign, and got to know each other pretty well. And it was easy for me to, when he was running this year, to throw my support behind him. And I know he's going to do a fantastic job. So, the oath of office. So, raise your hand. It says, I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of City Council for the City of Farmers Branch, State of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
Right in the hot seat. Well, thank you very much. I'm very excited to have this opportunity. I, like John, work extemporaneously off the cuff, so I do not have any prepared remarks except for the fact that I've been involved in the city since 1990, serving on the planning and zoning. There were many nights that we sat here in planning and zoning, and my oldest daughters who are here would sit in the front row and watch as we went through the commission meeting. I'm excited to serve. I'm excited to move forward into this next chapter, working with council and the city staff and the citizens to do all the things that we all want for our community to be the best and brightest place to live, work, and play. And I look forward to meeting many of you that I haven't already met, and for those who have supported me, like my family and my friends. I'm so thankful, and we move on to the next chapter. So thank you very much.
Next up. Here's your pen. So, in the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, this is to certify that an election held on May 1st, 2021, Tracy Williams was duly elected as council member of the city of Farmers Branch, in testimony whereof I have hereunto signed my name and caused the seal of the Farmers Branch to be affixed this 12th day of May, 2021.
It's with a great honor that I present the oath of office to my dear friend, Tracy Williams. Tracy, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Tracy Williams,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of City Council District 3.
faithfully execute the duties of
City Council
City Council
District 3 for the City of Farmers Branch, Texas,
of the City of Farmers Branch, Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and this state.
and this state.
So help me God. Congratulations.
I did prepare. I'm an over-prepared, and y'all forgive me because this is probably the closest thing to an Oscar night that I will ever have. So I just want to say how incredibly thankful that I am by this appointment. I am so excited by the possibilities that await our city and cannot wait to get to work. I am humbled that you all thought that I could fill the shoes that John Norwood is leaving behind. And I think we have an incredible council to represent our city, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to work with this award-winning staff. The support I received from residents like Sally Derrick and Sarah Langhorst and Rosa Pochecki and Calla Davis and Bob and Dee Phelps, Noel and Jeff Patton, Natasha Moser, Frank and Dottie McKee, Jessica Zavala, Nancy Hardy, Teresa Webster, Annie Storer and August Martin, Emily Hodges and Teresa Parada, Mariana Cuevas, and so many more is amazing. And the unending love and encouragement from my family, Scott and Beckham and Phoenix, was the real motivator behind my campaign. Showing my daughter that women need and deserve a seat at the table or at the dais will be one of my proudest moments as a mother. Farmers Branch is growing and thriving even through this pandemic, and I am so fortunate to be part of the City Council during this incredible time. I promise to hold true to the values that got me here and to make decisions that will continue the forward big picture thinking of my predecessor and this council. So thank you so much, and I'm so excited.
Everyone gets to hear all the ceremonial items today. Rarely do we have this many people in attendance. So, next up is the presentation of a service award to Linda Clark for 20 years of service to the City of Farmers Branch Parks and Recreation Department. Ms. Clark? So Linda Clark began her career with the City of Farmers Branch on May 25th, 2001 in the Parks and Recreation Department as a Recreation Program Coordinator. Her bachelor's degree in the therapeutic recreation from Kent State University prepared her to help shape the programming and culture currently seen at the Branch Connection. Linda has represented the City of Farmers Branch with the highest level of professionalism, courtesy, and dedication. In her current role, Linda coordinates over 20 programs annually, including Fish and Fun, Game Night, and the Branch Bazaar. Linda also generates a majority of the social media content for the Branch Connection. Linda's passion for serving the residents of Farmers Branch is evident every day she comes to work. She delivers excellent customer service and demonstrates great care to all members and visitors of the Branch Connection. After 20 years of service, Linda will be retiring. She begins a new chapter of her life. Upon retirement, Linda will embark on a new adventure with her husband, Alan, as they move to Findlay, Oklahoma, open an Airbnb that will provide a secluded retreat for those wanting to escape to nature. So, Linda, you have been just a true asset and blessing to the City of Farmers Branch, the Parks and Recreation Department, but most importantly to the Branch Connection. Your warm, bubbly face that just always has a smile on it. You're so kind. The way you treat all the visitors of the Branch Connection, you make them feel important. You make them feel loved, like they belong, and for our senior community, that's so important. And you're going to be greatly missed, and I'm definitely going to miss you because you're always one of the first people I look for when I walk into that building. So I just want to wish you, all the best in the next chapter of your life. But before we give you congratulations, I think Mike Mashburn might want to come up and say some words, or maybe Jackie. You got to introduce yourself to the community, Jackie. Come on.
Thanks, Mayor. Mike Mashburn, Director of Parks and Rec. I've been here 3 years. Linda, like the mayor said, always so bubbly, always so helpful. You see a room filled with people from the Branch Connection, and it's honestly people like this that make a difference. If they didn't, this room would be empty. So, storied career, lots of time put in. You deserve retirement and everything that comes with it. So, wish you all the best. Thank you.
I know I started here a little over a year ago, and being part and learning the Farmers Branch way and the family and the connection, That example was set out by Linda, working with her and having the privilege and being part of the department and realizing the family and the way we are, and your passion every day and the camaraderie that you brought to the office. You're not going to be replaced. You will always be missed. Please don't forget us. Please don't forget us. And I want to wish you farewells and following seas.
We're going to need one more round of applause because Linda deserves it. But please join me in congratulating Linda on a tremendous career and wishing her luck in her future endeavors. Here's your 20-year pen. A lot of people in this room are. Now you have to speak. Yeah, especially after that comment.
Oh, man. Well, I thought about what I want to say, and I kind of went back and forth about a lot of different things, but I do want to let you know that I've been so proud to serve Farmers Branch for the last 20 years. I've worked other places, and Farmers Branch is absolutely the best place to work. We are a family, and they've let me be as creative as I've wanted to be, which has been a lot of fun to be able to do things to help people. I think the thing that I'm going to miss most is all my connections, all my friendships, all my the staff, the members, the citizens, a lot of volunteers that have helped me through the years do the programs that I have done. And y'all don't go away. You got to come visit me in Oklahoma and be a hillbilly with me, okay? Anyway, thank you so much. Love all you guys.
So next up is the presentation of a proclamation designating the week of May 16th through 22nd, 2021 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Farmers Branch. And so in 1974, President Gerald Ford authorized EMS Week to honor the EMS personnel for their dedicated work. May 16th through 2022, or I guess, sorry, May 16th through the 22nd, 2021 is the 46th annual National EMS Week. This year's theme is This is EMS, Caring for Our Communities. First responders with EMS training include paramedics, EMTs, firefighters, and police officers. The pandemic has pushed the EMS system to its limits. However, the men and women have been resilient. They responded to several COVID-19 emergencies and helped vaccinate Texans. Today, your EMS professionals are ready to serve Farmers Branch to citizens despite the unknown challenges. This is EMS, caring for our communities. So a proclamation of EMS Week, whereas in 1974, President Gerald Ford authorized EMS Week to honor EMS professionals or personnel for their dedicated work. And whereas emergency medical services are a vital public service. And whereas the members of emergency medical service teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas emergency medical services have grown to fill a gap providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical service system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of the emergency medical service teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas the pandemic has pushed the EMS system to its limits, however, the men and women of the EMS have been resilient and responded to several COVID-19 emergencies and helped to vaccinate Texans. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical service providers by designating this 46th Annual National Emergency Medical Services Week. This is EMS, caring for our communities. Now, therefore, I, Robert C. Dye, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Farmers Branch in the state of Texas, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 16th through 22nd. Don't know why I can't say that. That's fascinating. Week of May 16th through 22nd, 2021 is Emergency Medical Services Week in Farmers Branch, Texas. Chief Fargus, and the whole team, come on up. So it's an honor to present this proclamation because, our first responders, especially this week, our emergency medical services, our EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, police officers, everyone that answers that call, having that 4-minute response time and providing the care that these men and women do saves lives every year. We are always getting stories of getting there just in time, whether it's a heart attack or some other illness that might not have had a positive outcome had we not had the team, had we not had the response time, had we not had the network that we have with Intech, with Carrollton, Addison, Coppell, and especially Farmers Branch. And we're just so grateful for your service, for what you do for our community, keeping us safe. And, one of the comments we get a lot is the bedside manner, how you treat the patients when you get there. They feel respected, they feel like they have dignity, and it's usually, or I guess almost always, a wonderful experience. And that just goes to who you all are. And how you're trained, and we're just so appreciative to have you a part of the Farmers Branch family. So, thank you, Chief Vargas.
Mayor, City Council, City Manager, it's my privilege to honor these medical professionals. The past 15 months have been very interesting, but we have the talent and support of the city to push forth. Thank you very much, Captain Henley, and to your crew. Thank you for your service.
So C5 is the proclamation recognizing May as National Bike Month in Farmers Branch. So the proclamation, National Bike Month. Whereas May is National Bike Month, and whereas the City of Farmers Branch is implementing trail improvements throughout the city to encourage and facilitate safe and convenient travel by bicycle. And whereas Bike to Work Day 2021 is a welcome way for area workers to get the needed exercise and mental well-being in light of the COVID pandemic. And whereas promoting greater public awareness of bicycle operation and safety education is critical to reduce collisions, injuries, and fatalities for everyone on the road. And whereas bicycle commuting is an effective means to support the region's air quality, improve mobility, and conserve energy. And whereas bicycle commuting benefits both the employees and employers through better health and fitness, lower costs, and reduced parking spaces. And whereas May 21st is National Bike to Work Day, which promotes bicycling as a viable means of transportation to and from work. Now, therefore, I, Robert C. Dye, Mayor of the City of Farmers Branch, by authority vested in me on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as National Bike Month. And I would like to remind roadway users of the importance of bicycle safety. Be smart, be safe. And C6, presentation of a proclamation designating the week of May 16th through 20. I'm not going to do this week ever again. Ever. Presentation of a proclamation designating the week of May 16th through the 22nd, 2021 as National Public Works Week. So whereas public works professionals provide focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Farmers Branch. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of our public work professionals who are engineers, managers, employees at all levels of government, and to the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest of the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Farmers Branch to gain knowledge of and to maintain progressive interest in understanding the importance of public works and programs in their respective communities. Now, therefore, I, Robert C. Dye, Mayor of the City for Farmers Branch, do hereby recognize the week of May 16th through the 22nd, 2021 as National Public Works Week, and further extend appreciation to all public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees for the substantial contribution in protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. And Mr. Bentley, if you'd like to come up, we can't say enough great things about you, your department, the men and women that work for you, the way they continually answer the call in our community, because usually it's only when there's a crisis do they get called out. It's never fast enough, it's never quick enough, but you guys are diligent, you're on the spot, you go out of your way, you work overtime, long hours, whether we had, the freeze that we had a few weeks ago, whether we have floods, you guys are out there answering the call, providing answers, and providing comfort. And so just want to extend our appreciation to you and your team, and thank you for all that you do. The floor is yours.
Not much for saying, a whole lot of words. So I will say that, we have the greatest public works department of any city. That's my opinion, but I think that'll go a long ways. I've been around for a long time, so I think that's good words. But on behalf of everybody in my department, I want to say thank you, Mayor, City Council, for supporting us, for giving us what we need to make it a safe city for our citizens and to provide quality drinking water and making sure that certain fluids go the right direction downstream. So anyway, this has been a great week to be Public Works Week, so a challenge. So, we're still working on it, and we're not perfect, but we will get there. If y'all ever have any questions, or anybody ever has any issues, don't hesitate to give us a call. We're always here to help. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a 10-minute recess, and then we'll be right back. The time is 6:58. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The time is 7:10 p.m. We will start up with the city manager's report on items of community interest. Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mayor. I see word travels fast. Just looking at the audience. In accordance with the governor's executive order today, facial coverings will no longer be required in city facilities. So I know many people are happy about that. The Mansky Library it closed Friday, May 14th for an estimated 4 weeks to accommodate its renovation project. During this time, due dates will be extended and no overdue fines will accrue. The project will add new carpet and shelving and bring the entire building into ADA compliance. National Bike to Work Day will be this Friday, May the 21st. The Branch Connection has another outdoor bazaar on Saturday, May the 22nd. The free event will allow vendors to market unique gifts, home decor, antiques, and specialty items in a socially distant atmosphere. The Farmers Branch Outdoor Aquatic Center, or Frog Pond, opens on Memorial Day weekend. Family Night in the Park will be held at the Historical Park on Saturday, May the 29th, with free activities for children and performances by 2 popular party bands. Afterwards, the animated musical Sing will be shown. Our Public Health Department has a reminder that mosquito season is upon us. Please drain standing water and remember to wear repellent when outside at dawn or dusk. You can sign up for e-news at farmersbranchtx.gov to have current city news and information delivered directly to your email box. And with that, that's the city manager's report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Next is citizen comments. There's a 3-minute time limit for each citizen to speak, with the reasonable limitation on speakers for each topic or item, with a maximum of 15 total minutes on the same topic. Anyone wishing to speak shall be courteous and cordial. No disparaging or inflammatory remarks directed at any member of the city council or staff will be allowed. First up to speak is James Phillips. Just your name and address, please, sir.
This the right spot?
It is.
My name's Jim Phillips. I'm in District 2, and I want to discuss the, the Court Enforcement Task Force recommendations. I watched the video that was done on May the 4th, and my first comment is thank you to the task force. I think they did a great job. I like the idea that they're going to move all the codes into one section, Chapter 56. And I like that they're going to start defining everything a little better. So that was good. There was a section they talked about recycling and the trash bins, that they no longer going to make them be hidden, but at least bring them out of the streets, and I thought that was a good idea as well. They talked about grass and weeds, going to give them from 8 inches to 6 inches. With all this rain, that'll be like 3 days. But anyway, I like their presentation that there's different kind of grasses that have different heights, but weeds are something that we still need to take care of. Then the idea about boats and motor homes being parked on residential property, as long as they're out of sight, that's fine with me. What I have seen and what I don't want to see is those things parked in somebody's yard. And then there's also the concept about living in some of those RVs that are out there, and they discussed how to go about and improve that somebody's actually living there, and how long do you have to be in it to be living. I would recommend if they've been in it over 30 days, they've been living in it, and it's too long. Some of my questions are, they came up with immediate neighborhood, and I don't know what immediate neighborhood would mean. Is that my one block, or does it extend farther? So that's the definition I think they need to add. And then they talked about screens on windows, and I just have a one-story house, so all my windows have screens, but guess what? My front door doesn't have a screen, and my sliding glass door in the back doesn't have a screen. I can see how that might present some difficulties in definitions as well. They said screens are there for the mosquitoes. If you keep your windows shut, you don't need screens. Is that my time up?
I'll give you 10 seconds.
Let's see if I got a couple more if you don't mind. When a code enforcement person comes over, do they give a notice the first time before a citation? I don't know, that hadn't happened to me, and so I was wondering how that works out. And that's it. Thank you for having me up here.
Mr. Phillips, thank you very much. Next is Omar Roman. Name and address.
2001 Whittington Place. I really only had one question, which was regarding if there was going to be any kind of policy implemented to make sure that people who signed up to speak weren't skipped. We had a good conversation earlier before the meeting started where you gave me your word that you would be diligent to make sure that that didn't happen. So I'm satisfied with that answer. So I appreciate you getting back to me and answering my question. And I'll trust that you won't forget me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is our consent agenda. Because we didn't have our normal study session, does anyone have anything that they would like to discuss at this time? Our new members? Anything? Okay. We don't have anyone signed up to speak to this item, so Mr. Merritt, I believe you have a motion.
Mayor, I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion by Councilmember Merritt.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Driscoll. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is G1, elect a mayor pro tem and deputy mayor pro tem and take appropriate action. Now that, I guess, John Norwood has left and we have two new city council members, we need to elect a new mayor pro tem and deputy mayor pro tem. I guess my recommendation for mayor pro tem would be to move Councilmember Ratona up from deputy mayor pro tem to mayor pro tem and move Councilmember Driscoll, who hasn't served in that capacity, to deputy mayor pro tem. Councilmember Ratona, do you have any comments or suggestions?
Thank you so much, Mayor, and definitely been something that I've been thinking about, and I would happily accept the appointment should it be the will of my colleagues. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Councilmember Driscoll.
First of all, I'd just like to say that I fully support my colleague, Cristal Ratona, in moving up, and if it be the will of the council, I would be thrilled and honored to serve as the deputy mayor pro tem.
Okay. Councilmember Lynn. Councilmember Williams.
I agree with both of those appointments and really look forward to having Councilman Driscoll and Councilwoman Ratona in those new roles.
Councilmember Merritt.
As we sit here for the first time, I'm happy to support the recommendation that is putting the two individuals forward in the roles that have been described, so I'm supportive of that. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Is there any more discussion on this item? Seeing none, look for a motion.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Councilwoman Ratona as Mayor Pro Tem.
We need a nomination.
Mayor, I'll be happy to second that.
I have a nomination of Councilmember Ratona for Mayor Pro Tem. Motion by Councilmember Williams, second by Councilmember Merritt. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Passes unanimously. Do we have another motion for Deputy Mayor Pro Tem?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Councilmember Driscoll as Deputy Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Ratona, second by Councilmember Williams. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Passes unanimously. Next is G2, receive an update from the Woven Clinic. Ms. Rigby, good to see you again.
Gotcha. Hello, Lisa Rigby with Woven Health Clinic, One Medical Parkway, Farmers Branch, Texas, 75234. And thank you for having me. I thought it was very fitting that you proclaimed this week EMS, Emergency Medical Services Week, because, you know, I'm going to just say a big shout out and thank you to the City Council, to the city, to Ben, and also to Shannon Langford with the Farmers Branch Fire Department. I can't tell you when Ben called me in December, you have to remember the vaccine was not going out to a lot of people. And he called and said, hey, the city considers Woven Health Clinic and your services essential workers. And y'all added us. And I literally ran down the halls screaming and let my staff know. And I don't want to get emotional, but at that time it was really super exciting because that meant we could open our clinic, we could see patients. We were open doing telemedicine. But honestly, you know, our patients struggle with that. So it meant in February we got vaccinated, March 1st we opened the clinic. So really just thank you again. That's just really quick what happened. I think you all know the fall was really bad. October, then November, then December, and even January was some of the highest rates of COVID that we were seeing from COVID positive patients. We shifted mostly to telemed and virtual for all our events, for all our telemedicine, for all our visits. After we got vaccinated, we opened the clinic March 1st, and then we actually did get vaccines ourselves, and so we've now given over almost 400 vaccinations at our clinic. So we're very excited about that. The other thing that's of interest to you all is we're opening a new clinic, actually June 1st in Carrollton. It's over north, so it's like at Josie and Hebron. And the good news is that means that some of our Carrollton patients will transfer there, and that's going to give more opportunities for more patients in Farmers Branch. So very excited about that. Wanted to give you a quick update. We did get some CARES Act funding from you all, and I want you to know we put that to good use. So in addition to our patients getting a COVID test, we used some of that money to pay for COVID test. We have PCR hospital-grade equipment, and the tests are very expensive. It's a 4-in-1 test. So it tests for 2 strains of the flu, COVID, RSV, and strep. And so we did do several hundred tests of Farmers Branch residents with that. In addition, we did a lot of upgrades. So for telemedicine, we moved everything virtually. Let me tell you, that was a learning curve for the clinic staff. People in medical aren't really trained on how to do all that, and our patients. But we saw a lot of success. The other thing we did is you got a visit with our doctor and then if you're positive, you got the test, we gave you a COVID kit. And that was almost $250 worth of, you got a blood pressure monitor, you got a pulse oximeter, you know what that is? It measures your oxygen levels, which is super important when you have COVID. We gave them a digital touchless thermometer. You got a packet of masks, hand sanitizers, but importantly, breathing exercises, vitamin D, bone broth, a lot of, Tylenol, ibuprofen, all of those things, how to quarantine, tips on how to quarantine. So every single patient in Farmers Branch that tested at our clinic got one of those kits. Thought it was very helpful. We got really good feedback on that. I was going to show you these, but I'm going to let you go to our Facebook. So we did virtual walks. You know, we had a lot of events. We do preventative care at our clinic, not just we do treat diabetes, hypertension, all those things. Suddenly it's like, well, what do you do with your exercise classes? What do you do with your walks? We had our first virtual walk, And we asked people to go to their park, if it was in Farmers Branch or wherever, and walk it the same day, take videos, send it in. We had about 50 people at the first one. We have a second one, so we had planned it to be virtual. We're hoping it will be our last virtual. We might do a combination of virtual and on-site. So it's really exciting to be able to do events again. But go check us out. We also had to move our healthy cooking classes offline. So by the way, you don't have an excuse now. I believe, Mayor Dye, you were one of those who talked to me about cooking. So you can go to our Facebook, and there's actually very short, like 5-minute videos on how to cook healthy. So check out our Facebook. You'll see all the things we're doing. In terms of the number of patients, this was the year to date. So from starting October 1st through March 31st, we had seen 518 patients for a total of over 1,000 visits. 1,166 visits. So I think that, to give you an idea, we were about 10% lower than where we were the year before at the same time. But I will say, since we opened March 1st, we're getting back to our normal rates. We had some patients that went a whole year without coming. So we're really excited to see those again. And then just really quick, the outcomes. Here's what we're struggling with. So we are all trying to dig out of the hole from the pandemic. A lot of our patients have gained weight. We've seen more substance abuse, particularly with alcohol consumption. And I'll be honest, diabetes, hypertension, depression, we're seeing higher rates of that are uncontrolled. So our hope is, over the next 6 months, to really work with those patients. We're going to work on vaccine buster myths. Okay, we have about 50% of our patients that are coming in that are fully vaccinated. So we are also trying to give them vaccines, but there are a lot of myths, and that is going to be one of our focus. Mental health, so that's an area that we're expanding at Woven Health, and the needs there, I think, continue to grow, unfortunately. We did see a lot of our patients who were unemployed last year, could not even afford basic needs. I'm going to tell you that's starting to improve. We are seeing that to where we don't have the same level we saw, say, back last summer and the early fall. Medical supplies still sky high, and we're going to keep some things virtual. We're going to go back, and it'll be so exciting to have on-site events. But what we found is, for some of our patients that don't have transportation, telemedicine can be a very good thing. So we're going to keep both. And then I'm just going to end on a positive note. We have not had a single positive COVID test since February. So with that, I feel like things are really improving. On behalf of our patients that we saw from Farmers Branch, I just want to thank you for your support, and would love to maybe have y'all come by and do a tour of the clinic sometime this year. Thank you.
Ms. Rigby, thank you very much. Just want to say that we appreciate not only your leadership, but Woven's partnership with the City of Farmers Branch. The resources and services that you provide to our residents in need is tremendous, and without y'all, we wouldn't be able to serve these people. So really appreciate you and that partnership. Councilmember Ratona, do you have anything?
Thank you so much. First and foremost, Lisa, I'm a big fan of what Woven does. I want to say congratulations. I was there for your grand opening celebration for the clinic in Carrollton. When Baylor left that facility, it left a gap, and so you're going to be helping so many residents over there with our neighbors. I did have one quick question. Of the, a little over 1,000 residents that have been served, what would you say the demographics of those residents are?
About 68 to 70% Latino.
Okay.
The age, our patients had been skewing older. We're now seeing more younger patients come in. So it used to be, we would tell you, that age might be around 45. That age is coming down now, closer to maybe 40. So we're seeing more young patients come in as opposed to strictly older patients. It's still more women. I would say a good 65% of our patients are female versus male. I will tell you, we did see more men this year than we did the year before, which I don't know if that was due to the pandemic, but we are seeing that. Most of our patients, obviously, I think 95% are uninsured. The other 5% have super high insurance deductibles and can't afford care. They're all at 250% or lower of the poverty level. And most of them, you know, their work, like when you look at who they are work. Like I think we do ask them where do they work and employment, and easily 95% of our patients are employed. Some work 2 jobs.
No, thank you for that. And really, it was trying to make a point that, you know, there is a big gap in our healthcare system. And working for a hospital, we see it all the time. Underinsured, not insured at all. You know, obviously we're focusing on the legislature to help us kind of fill that gap, but it doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very good for us down there. But at least people are having the conversation. So I just again want to congratulate you and the work that you do. You know, we see the hesitancy in the vaccine all of the time working for our system, especially knowing that the demographics of our Hispanic community, that's one of the biggest populations that are very hesitant, and I think it's those myths. So I just want to commend you for the work that you do, and I've met your staff, I've toured your facility, it's very impressive, and I do encourage my colleagues to come and take a walk down to Woven. They do a tremendous job. So again, congratulations on the opening of your new facility, and thank you so much for having Woven be in our great city here in Farmers Branch. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Driscoll.
I haven't done this in almost 2 years here on site. Getting used to it again.
We're all getting back to a new normal. Yes. First of all, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very informative, and appreciate all the work you're doing in our community. And particularly, it goes without saying, everything we've been through with the pandemic, unemployment, people, you know, afraid to go out, meet with family, et cetera. The services you've provided, you know, the medical services and the mental health, really, really critical and deeply appreciated. I just had a couple of questions. You mentioned the telemedicine and personal visits. Are you seeing a greater role for the telemedicine over the, say, this year? Is that a higher percentage of your?
We were doing no telemedicine prior to January. February, when things first started, we started rolling it out slowly, and then you know, unfortunately, some of my staff got COVID last year, and that was a wake-up call to us, and we switched to virtual 100%. So yes, it was new for us, and what we've decided is there is a role. Now, you cannot replace medicine with 100% telemed. You just can't.
Right.
I mean, there are tests you have to do, but what we are, a lot of visits, sick visits you can still do. There are check-ins for people that maybe, you know, they don't have transportation.
Right.
They can't. The biggest challenge a lot of our patients have is they don't get paid to be off work to go to the doctor. So being able to do a quick visit, you know, via their phone, video call is very helpful. So I think there is a role for telemedicine for sure, and we are going to keep that as part of our mix for our patients.
Okay, thanks. And I had one more question. You mentioned, you know, the high cost of medical equipment and everything you need. Are you starting to see, you know, as the economy is improving, more vaccinations are getting out there? I know the medical cost, everything for the equipment is still high, but are you starting to see it trend down a little bit?
No.
Not yet.
No, I mean, it's unfortunate. What happened last year, cost of gloves, for example, went up. Well, at one point it was up 3,000%, but it's like still up 300%. So what I found is that the cost went up. They may have come down a little bit, but they are not back to where they were pre-pandemic. And I'll be honest with you, in medical, costs go up every year. It's just almost like, you know, it's like part of the standard. They raise cost every single year. And a lot of it are things you need every day, like your gloves, you know, all of those basic type of medical supplies. So unfortunately, no, I'm not seeing those costs go down.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
Councilmember Lynn.
I appreciate what you do. I don't have any questions, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
Thank you so much for the work that you're doing and the service that you're providing. I think that's a huge gap in our healthcare system that you are helping to fulfill. So I'll echo Councilwoman Ratona's comments. That's really a huge need in our community right now, and especially following the pandemic. My only question would be, and just out of curiosity, because I also am in healthcare, and we've also seen a rise in mental health needs. How are y'all expanding those mental health services, and are y'all utilizing your telemedicine more in that capacity? And just thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question on the mental health. So yes, we are utilizing telemedicine, teletherapy is what we call it. So we are doing more teletherapy. We're adding resources to our clinic. We're also partnering with other nonprofits. So we partner with UT Southwestern Medical Center, and they trained our staff through the psychiatry department for treating depression and anxiety. And so we are now taking those best practices, and we're finding other organizations are interested in having us, put on-site behavioral health. So that's one way. Secondly, we are trying to expand our resources so we have more hours of counseling available. And hopefully we'll be able, we just saw it skyrocket because the isolation, people losing their jobs, the depression, there was just a lot of those factors, economic and grief. A lot of people lost family members. This was very common that many of our patients had family members that died from COVID. Luckily, we did not see our patients. We are just very fortunate, but they did have family members. So that's where we're focusing on grief. We have a lot of grief and trauma counseling that we're adding to kind of the services we provide.
Councilmember Merritt.
I'll just echo the comments of my colleagues. Thank you for all the work that you do. And then as you've offered, I'll be happy to take you up on the tour of your facilities in the days ahead. So I'll be in contact with you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you guys very much.
Next is G3, receive an update from the family place.
Thank you, Ben. Okay. Good evening. Rhonda Lemons, Senior Director of Community Collaboration with the Family Place, and my address, 7424 Greenville Avenue, number 202, Dallas, Texas, 75231. Good evening, Mayor. It's a pleasure meeting you earlier. Honorable Council members, City Manager. 1 to 15 children are exposed to intimate partner violence each year, and 90% of these children are eyewitness to this violence. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. And 38% of Texas women have experienced intimate partner violence in their lifetime. On behalf of Paige Flink, our CEO, and her executive team, we want to thank you for your financial support and continued commitment to the family place. We service a very vulnerable population. They are fearful, but hopeful. So thank you all. The leaders of the services that you provide financial support to prepared a presentation that I will present to share with you those services that you fund. Here is our mission statement, where we empower victims of family violence and all of the services that the family place provides. 24-hour crisis hotline, emergency shelter, medical and dental clinics, animal shelter, transitional housing, children educational services, community-based counseling, children's counseling, B Project, incest recovery program, supervised child visitation, battery intervention and prevention program, dignity at work, legal services, community education, and resale services. I encourage you all to take a look at our website to acquire more information regarding all of those services. Group and individual services are provided through counseling, and those groups offered are domestic violence education, parenting, processing domestic violence, and incest and family sexual abuse recovery. How does this happen? Well, services are recognized through our 24-hour crisis hotline. There are phone calls made. Once those phone calls are made, that information goes into a service queue. The service queue then is transitioned to the various departments, and we immediately service those individuals. Counseling services are free. There are 3 locations: South Dallas, Redbird area, Central Dallas Medical District, and Collin County, McKinney. And the services are free in English, and in English and Spanish. Advocate services are case management services, and in addition to that, North Texas Legal Aid provides services as it relates to court protective orders, crime vices compensation, divorce, custody, child support issues, and connecting to other family place services. It's very important that we provide these type services to the individuals because a lot of them come in and not aware of what's available to them. So our partnership with North Texas Legal Aid is very important. B Project. B Project is the service for school-based teen dating prevention, violence prevention, and it covers an intergenerational cycle of violence, starting with adult intimate partner violence, child direct and indirect exposure, and bullying and peer aggression, which you all know is very much on the rise. B Project Classroom Education provides healthy relationship education for individuals, 6th and 7th grade dating matters curriculum, and 8th through 12th grade safe dates curriculum. And there you see some of the topics that are covered during that educational process. We also provide services to support groups. The support groups are 10 students maximum and focus on psycho-educational 10-session curriculum. That curriculum being based on expecting respect. Then we also provide leadership groups, and those leadership groups, of course, would have to complete the classroom education and be approved by the facilitators of the B Project program. B Project caregiver trainings, again, much needed because we need individuals to understand and recognize the red flags of teen dating violence, digital abuse, healthy communication, what is conflict resolution, and the importance of positive relationships with youth, and normalization of violence, and supporting an abused teen. B Project also offers teacher and school staff training because as it relates to education in the school system, we want to make sure that we can provide as much assistance as possible to help teachers identify warning signs, why students don't ask for help, interrupting abusive and harmful behavior, preventing violence in the school, mandatory reporting, and supporting strategies for students and creating safe spaces. Very important. I mean, I know you all are familiar with what's happening in our community today. And there are a lot of children that are committing suicide. They're being abused for what they believe, for what they think, for who they know. And in addition to that, are very, very much subjected to the attacks of individuals online and even human trafficking. I encourage you all to look into human trafficking. A lot of our children are being impacted by human trafficking. Recap as it relates to B Project and the services. Classroom education, 7 to 10 weeks, grades 6 through 12. Support groups, 10 weeks, grades 3 through 12, 3rd through 12. Be More Leadership, 10 weeks long, grades 6 through 12. Parent caregiver training by request, 7 total training options. We welcome anybody to those who are interested. And teacher professional training by request, BNLE, custom options available. I would like to now share some highlights with you as it relates to the B Project and the counseling services. During the pandemic and the snowstorm, the family place never closed its doors. We don't have the option to close our doors. As a matter of fact, during the pandemic, domestic violence was on the increase. Not even for an hour did we close our door. Non-residential counseling was able to go virtual overnight and continue to see clients in person, via phone, and virtually every single day, even during the lockdown. Clients' safety is our number one. Non-residential made adjustments to programming to provide services more quickly and effectively, resulting in no wait lists. I'm sure you all heard about Sally's House, one of our huge shelters, flooded, the ceilings caved in. Well, we immediately moved those clients to a safe haven. Services never stopped. We made sure that they felt safe and that they are secure. And Sally's House, in anticipation of opening Sally's House, according to Mrs. Flink is July 4th with a lot of fireworks. So we're looking forward to that. B project highlights at the end of 2020, fiscal year 2020, and throughout fiscal year 2021, Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD stopped allowing outside organizations on the school campuses and reduced services provided from the community organizations. But because of this, B Project was no longer able to provide leadership groups or support groups and only classroom education. But this resulted in an increase in students and more awareness by parents, because parents were kind of dipping in and out on some of the virtual learning that was being provided to the children. So it ended up increasing the numbers, particularly the numbers here in Farmers Branch, as it relates to educational services. Also, fortunately, virtual teaching aids allowed B Project to reach that greater number and through the limited classroom education services that were provided. Although leadership groups were suspended, classroom education and parent-teacher trainings were adapted for virtual implementation. So now we provide virtual implementation. Even when we go back to in-service, that will still be an opportunity or an option for individuals. The total number of students that were served in fiscal year 2020 were 2,393 students in the Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD, which includes students from Farmers Branch and surrounding cities. In addition, following that, from October 20 through present, total current Farmers Branch students, 1,498, and of the 1,498, 546 are new students. And that would complete my presentation.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your presentation. I know you've only been there 3 months, but
3 months.
You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
But I do want to, thank the Family Place for, the partnership with our city. Again, we try to partner with groups that can help with services that we just don't have the experience or capability to provide. And with COVID, the occurrence of family violence definitely increased. And so you being an outlet to where we can send people and allow families to get help has been just wonderful for our community, despite the difficult situations. And I think that the B program, in attacking the issue with kids at an early age and working on prevention is the right direction to help hopefully curb this type of occurrence. So just want to thank you for your efforts, what you and your team are doing, and all the support that you not only give Farmers Branch, but our surrounding communities as well. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Ratona.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, thank you so much for joining us. I echo the comments that the mayor said. I was a product of Earl Turner, and back in the day, we had a leadership council from the Family Place, and there was an office on the corner of Fike and Webb Chapel. And I'm glad that the Leadership Council has evolved to be what it is now. So I think it's very much needed now more than ever. We didn't have social media back then. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to congratulate you all on the great work that you're doing. And it's much needed during these times. And anything that we can do to support, anything I can do to support, I'm happy to help. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'd like to share that R.L. Turner Newman Spitz stayed with us.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was called something completely different back then. It was a long time ago. ago, but I'm glad it's evolved to incorporate different iterations and different components of the BEAT project. So,
Thank you.
Councilmember Driscoll.
Thank you, Ms. Lemons, for your presentation. And I just have to echo comments of my colleagues. Even pre-pandemic, these types of services are critical, particularly for the younger kids in elementary school, middle school, high school. And my hat's off to you and all the work that you and your staff do. And these types of services and these needs have just grown exponentially, in the last year and a half. And all I can say is thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm so sorry, Mayor. I did have one question. As far as mental health, I know that you provide counseling, but with some of your adolescents, do you do any referrals out? Particularly, I work for children, so I'm just curious. Do y'all do any referrals for mental health, behavioral health therapy for that some of your teens may need that you may find during those counseling sessions?
We do refer out, but we ourselves have
Perfect.
clinicians
Okay.
there on site that provides those
Oh, like
type of
LPH.
services.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Lynn.
Thank you for the report. Well familiar with Family Place. My wife is a big supporter and a big customer. So I very much appreciate what you do, and I know she does too. So thank you. I don't have any questions.
Thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lemons, for your presentation and for the incredibly heartbreaking work that you guys provide. As a woman, this particular, the Family Place is near and dear to my heart. And I really appreciate the BEAT project, the leadership program, as I have younger children heading up into middle school and into high school. That's an exciting program for me personally to get them involved in, especially since I have a daughter, and we're always concerned about intimate violence and dating violence in particular, and that level of education is crucial, especially in this society. So I also love that you're doing the teacher training programs with the Ally Action continuums. That I think is crucial, and those are great intermediate people to help look for those warning signs. And so I really appreciate that work that y'all do with the teachers. I think that has been a spot that was lacking before. So I'd love to see you guys continue with your virtual programs. So I'm glad to hear that, because that does open those training programs and the B project to people that maybe weren't going to participate just because of not being able to attend. And so I'm glad that y'all are going to keep that on board. So thank you so much for what y'all do.
Thank you.
Councilmember Merritt.
Thank you, Mayor. I thank you for the presentation and obviously all the heartfelt work that your organization puts together and addressing the client's needs. I don't have anything to add beyond what my colleagues have said, but I'm very supportive of your organization, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lemons. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Next is G4. Consider approving resolution number 2021-064, awarding the bid and authorizing a unit price contract to Trinity Miller Utility and Construction LLC for the water main replacement 2021 and take appropriate action. Mr. Bentley.
Mayor, members of the council, Mark Bentley, Director of Public Works. Sorry I haven't been here for a while, but I'm trying to get back on track. I started out the year really good, but kind of slowed down in the middle there, but getting back on track. What you have before you is just continuing to improve our overall water and sewer system. This is a water main replacement. We're replacing 50-year-old, mainly cast iron pipe in the streets that we're just having major problems with. So we put this out for bids. We had 12 bidders on the project. Trinity Miller Utility and Construction was the apparent low bidder at $581,495. Their references have checked out. They have done.
Yes, Mr. Bentley. Is this the first time we've done work with our hired Trinity Miller?
Yes, sir, it is.
And they've worked with a lot of the other cities in the Metroplex?
Yeah, all the references that we got show that they were a competent company. Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. I just had one question. I mean, we know we've got this old infrastructure that's got to be replaced, and, you know, we're doing it systematically and financing it. From your perspective, do you have a kind of a financial measurement, you know, how long it takes for, you know, replacing this stuff and then kind of the ROI for the city, you know, how much money we save with being more efficient,
Well,
having breaks, if any way you can calculate that?
It's really, on the water side, it's very hard to calculate. On the sewer side, it's a little bit easier because once we start replacing, we're cutting down the I&I, and we could see the year before, we had a $600,000 savings in our Trinity sewer charges.
Right.
Water, it's a little bit more difficult in the fact that, you know, when you have a water main break, you don't really know how much water you actually lost, so you don't know really what you're recouping. But anything we can repair is a savings to the city. Because granted, if a water main breaks in any circumstance, we're losing money. It's going down the drain.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to avoid.
Right, but in addition to the water loss, I mean, putting in the new piping, it should save us a lot of money on maintenance and repair down the road, yes?
Correct, yeah. I mean, we're taking leaky cast iron and asbestos cement pipes, asbestos cement especially. I mean, you know, it cracks just if you went and stomped on the ground, it would crack almost. It's almost that bad. But yes, we're putting in PVC pipe, which then is going to probably give us a 75-year life on that. Of course, they will break under certain circumstances, but I don't foresee that having
For
to be
these
an
kind of
issue.
jobs, can they use PEX, or is that more just on the residential
Use
side?
what? I'm sorry?
The PEX?
No, PEX is not acceptable to the AWWA.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's all I have, thank you.
Councilmember Lynn.
No questions, thank you.
Oh, Councilman Lynn, $1.3 million left over in the budget.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What was that?
I'm trying to keep him advised on how much money we have left in the actual budget for this project, and I was letting him know it's $1.3 million. Yeah. He didn't ask me that question, so I figured I'd fill him in on the information. I figured that up today, so I'll let you know.
Councilmember Williams.
No further questions.
Councilmember Merritt.
I just have two, actually.
Okay.
Mr. Bentley, could you help me as a new council member make sure that I understand the cost differential between the three projects? Obviously, it's probably distances that are being covered, that Bevan is the most expensive of the three that are in this particular RFP. So I'm assuming that it's a further distance on that particular project versus the other two streets that are there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, BVAN is pretty much, it is the longest. I mean, it's well over 1,500 feet. Keyport, of course, is probably closer to 1,000 feet, and Lineville is probably, I think that one's like 200 or 300 feet.
Okay, very good.
So it varies from site to site.
Understood. So that explains that. And then secondarily, you may have asked it in Councilman Driscoll's response, the duration of the new product that's going in, the life expectancy,
75 years.
75?
That's the life expectancy.
Expectancy, I understand.
Correct. I'm not going to count on it, but I mean, I'll say it'll last longer than the other two pipes that we're replacing.
It's not a guarantee. I understand
Yes, sir.
expectancy. Thank you. Those are the questions I have.
Okay. Councilmember Ratona.
Sorry, I did, Driscoll's question kind of prompted another one on my end. So due to, the recent storm we had, obviously, I think that's one of the things that maybe you're referencing to, and we need to replace things. As far as our infrastructure goes, is there anything that we're doing to, are we maybe lowering the location of the pipe 1 more inch? Is there anything that we're doing to try to be more proactive and prevent some of these pipes bursting? And obviously we don't know when we're going to have another winter storm, but 75 years, we'll probably have another. So just curiosity, is there anything we can do? And I'm not an engineer, this is not my forte, but I'm curious to see if it's something that we're thinking about, or even something that we can do based on what we're actually, based on this particular project.
Well, there's always a number of things you can do. But I think over, history, we've looked at, okay, what pipe should be at what depth, where should it be, how should you place, because you've got a number of different systems that are going in. You got waters, you got sewer, you got storm, then you got telephone, you got electric, you got all these people trying to get in there, and so we're trying to fit things in and squeeze it in the right place. Generally, your sanitary sewer is from 8 to 10 feet deep. You want it the deepest because you're probably not going to go in there to get into it very often. Water, we put on generally a 4 foot of cover. Normal water, anything 12 inches or above goes to 5 feet. That just gives us room to squeeze storm sewer above if we have to, and sewer below. So we're kind of trying to squeeze in a zone there we can get in there. If we start putting everything too close to a certain depth, now if you go deeper with water, yeah, you'll probably save it a little bit, less breaks, because what happens is that the freeze thaw, the ground moves. And if you don't have rigid pipe enough or your embedments aren't good enough, then that's when the pipe pops. The cast iron and the AC pipe, which is asbestos cement, it pops quicker. PVC is a little more forgiving. It bends a little bit, moves a little bit, so you're not going to see as many. So I think where we're placing things, I think we're good. I think it's just the material. We're trying to improve the material to something that will last longer and be more friendly to us. So, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sure, you bet.
Any other questions? All right. This item is marked for action. We don't have anyone signed up to speak to this item, so if someone would like to make a motion, feel free.
Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2021-64.
I have a motion by Councilmember Lynn.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Driscoll. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With no further business to conduct, I will adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:02 p.m. Everyone have a good night.